Wix Studio, the platform for agencies and enterprises to manage clients and projects with max efficiency, sharing Wix's SEO tech to help you drive growth.
Fix errors, waste, and issues in a couple of clicks. Get alerted whenever you're off track. Sign up at trueclicks.com.
All right. Full disclosure, I talk like I have hot yams in my mouth, so you really have to pay attention. So do me a favor, drop your phones for the next 20 minutes. I promise you're not going to die. You're going to be alive. Just 20 minutes of your time. Okay. Yes, Beth already did a great job of introducing me. I am the Senior Content Marketing Manager of Moz, but I'm also the founder of a nonprofit that provides free resources and training for people of color. So if you're not a member, please consider joining the FCDC, freelancecoalition.org. Now, here's what we're going to be learning today. Trust is the new currency. Thought leadership has always been the answer. Creating multimodal content with AI. And yes, so throughout my presentation, you'll be seeing a couple of Black people. I don't believe in Black History Month. Every day is Black History Month for me. So I'm going to be highlighting Black women in my life that I think everyone should follow. Anu Adebola be one of them. All right. We've been joining in content for over a decade now, but recently it has gotten worse. Look at these numbers. 4.4 million new blog posts in 2022. And look at the numbers now. 7.5 million. We have almost doubled the number of content pieces that we have created in the past 2 years. And who can take a wild guess on why that is? Please, we all know what it is. We know what's going on. And we'll be delusional to think that it's going to get better anytime soon. Now, what happens when we have more AI content? More AI content means less trust in everything. And less trust means that people are less receptive to new sources of information. According to Harvard Kennedy School, human attention is finite, and people tend to consume content from mainstream sources. I am one of those people that consume content from mainstream sources. And let me give you some examples. I get my SEO news from STJ and SEL. I receive weekly roundups from Aleda's SEO FOMO and Moz Top 10. I watch my webinars on ClearScope and the Practical Marketer. If you have not checked it out, go and check that out. It is a webinar series that I created. And I read blog posts from the same websites. Why am I doing the same thing? Why am I doing the same thing back to back to back? It's because I don't have the energy or the emotional capacity to invest in any new sources of information. We are all drowning in content. Now, our goal is to do 3 things. We want to become mainstream. And we want to do this while using AI, but without eroding consumer trust. The answer has always been thought leadership, in my opinion, and I'm going to explain why. The primary goal of thought leadership content is to rank in the user's mind, not just on SERP. Search is changing, and it's scary to think about it. People are searching on TikTok, and please, when I say people, I mean me. If I'm going on holiday now, I'm going to go and look on TikTok and Google that location and see what people are saying about what is happening there. If I want to eat in a restaurant, I'm going to start my search on Instagram. I hardly ever use Google now because Google has just become a cesspool for rubbish information these days, and we can all see that happening. Who here has read the recent article that was published on the person who ruined search? Nobody. Unbelievable. Who is in this room? Now, we go to the same website for information because we trust them. If they said it, it must be true. For example, there are 3 people that I want to highlight now. Who knows this person? Just raise your hand if you know who this is. Cool. Who knows who this is? Cool. And who knows this? I already gave it away by putting her name there, but yes. Now, if Lily Ray says something about Google algorithm updates or EE80, I'm going to take her word for it. I'm not going to try and research to find out if it's true or not because I don't have the energy. But if somebody else says something about Beyonce or Rihanna, you best believe I'm going to dedicate the whole of my day to go and verify that information. The reason is because these are people that we trust as sources of truths. And that eclipses anything that we're seeing on Google search. And that is what we are trying to aim for. Now, the way to do this is what I call the 3 Ws. who, what, and where. Now, with the who, we want to target these people with thought leadership contents, potential customers, peers, hiring managers, consultants and C-suite executives, and aligned verticals. When I say aligned verticals, I'm a content person, for example. My aligned verticals will be other people who do marketing functions, probably those who work in products, who work in growth. Those will be good aligned verticals. You get 1 month free of LinkedIn every month in a year. I want everybody here to start using it to build relationships with people that can have an impact on your career. Now, who are you connecting with? You want to connect with people who are active on LinkedIn. You want to connect with people who have at least 500 followers. These are all things you can filter with LinkedIn Premium. People who are decision makers, who understand your content, likely to hire, refer, or engage with your content, and who are also engaging with content from people doing similar work to you. Other ways to connect. I really enjoy Reddit communities, and I think it's that anonymity that gives people the ability to say fuck all and then just express themselves as they want to. I really, really like that about Reddit. I also like Facebook communities like Sisters in SEO and Slack communities like WTS. All right, other ways to connect. Twitter, events like MosCon and our very dear Brighton SEO. And I really, 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 really like Search London. Oh my God, 70, 60 people, but it's just so much easier to build relationship when you're not feeling overwhelmed by 1,000 people walking across the hallway. All right, what will you say? And I think what you're going to say has to be multimodal thought leadership content. Shout out to Rejoice. I just saw her dreadlocks somewhere in the room. Now, I want to highlight something here. And I want you to really think about this with me. Sorry. Let me put this down. Individuals equals to brand. Brand equals to individuals. I don't trust brands. I trust people. I buy from people. The way that everything is changing now, we are going to be looking to more people for answers rather than brands for answers. And we're seeing that in platforms like TikTok already. Let me give you an example. This is Devin Reed, and this is Udi Ledogo. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. I had no idea what Gong was as a company. I didn't even know what it was until Udi started posting about Gong on LinkedIn. Because of Udi, thousands of people have started using Gong as a sales tool because he's always evangelizing, sharing what they're working on, sharing how the tool works, showing product use cases. Udi has over 100,000 followers on LinkedIn. Same thing with Devin. Now, imagine that in your company, you have 10 people that have 10,000 followers, and just think the possibilities of what you could do with distribution, having that many people evangelizing for your company. We are thinking too small right now with search. It is time for us to start thinking outside the box to how we can take our content, our tool, to people where they are consuming that content, and that is in front of all these different audiences. Now, strong brands become even stronger when they leverage individuals for thought leadership. So what are your channels for promoting that thought leadership? It's a lot. LinkedIn, Twitter, blog, webinar, guest posting, podcast, public speaking, communities, videos, courses, newsletters, books. How many people are even using any of this? How many of you here are using any of this? 2 people. Okay, let's dial it back. How many people here have at least 500 followers on LinkedIn or Twitter? See, you're using it already. That is what I mean. How many people here have a blog, a personal blog that you run, not your company's blog? That is already you doing it. How many people here have gone on a podcast or done a webinar series? That is already it. You just have to start thinking about it that rather than just doing this thing as something that is spontaneous, how do I make it a strategy to build cohesive thought leadership for myself? Now, I want to give you some content ideas because I know that one of the biggest problems that people have is what do I say? That has to be like the number one thing. So I'm just going to give you the stuff that has worked for me to grow my own audience to over 33K on social. LinkedIn, or even social media generally. I'm just going to highlight 2 from this, but yes, all of this work, your hacks for solving a problem everyone struggles with, and how to post tailored around clients' results. And another one I think is really interesting is your take on industry news or trend. Let me give you an example again. This is Lily Ray. This is her doing a video on the March core updates. And look at how many views that video has gotten. Almost 4,000 views. Look at the engagement, 34 comments, 200 likes. It's crazy. She's growing her social following by doing this kind of video content regularly. And I don't know, people just hate on her for no reason, but I think she's awesome. Another example, this is Joshua George. This is what I call a case studies format of just showing what is working. He's saying, we increased this jewelry stock traffic by 375% in 12 months. And their organic sales have exploded to the extent that they turned off their paid ads without seeing a drop in revenue. Now, if I see this from an agency and I see them posting consistently about all the other great work they're doing with clients, I'll be more inclined to hire them as against somebody that is telling me that SEO is not going to see results until 6 months later. Now, another great example, Gaetano Dinadi. If you don't follow him, seriously, follow this guy on LinkedIn. He is incredible. He's always sharing tips on how he's using growth marketing channels, SEO, and stuff like that to create content, to do strategy, and the revenue. So important, the revenue, the actual money that is coming from the efforts. Because I do believe that everything we do should be able to tie back to some form of revenue or metrics that we can track. Now, how do you use ChatGPT to create that social content? The first step is always the most difficult because you have to train it. I'm not really a fan of creating your own GPT. I don't know. I've not really found success with it. What I found success with is creating those kind of threads. I've had threads that I've been using since last year that I can't even probably even go back to the top of it, but this shit works. So the first step is to give it the information of what I'm trying to do. And then after that, I then start to give it more instructions. Every single one, I'm giving it more instructions of how to make that information better. And it's learning from it. And then I'm like, there's a disconnect here, merge it, fix it, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, this doesn't read like something that I would say, rephrase it to sound more simple because it's always writing gibberish that I don't understand. And then when it gives me all this information, I just pick from here, pick from here, pick from here. And then I have a cohesive post. And then I feed it back to ChatGPT and I say, what did you learn from this? And then it's telling me what it has learned from the post I went with. And I say, remember this for when we create the next one. And then we create the next one, is a bit more easier. And then I give it more instructions. And with every one, it's just getting easier. All right. Content ideas for blog posts. Again, I think we should stop focusing on SEP, like I've been saying. And something that we can do is to create more actionable content, case studies, middle of the funnel, research reports, original frameworks, the stuff that is going to make people to think of you when they have a problem. What are people interested in right now that you can build thought leadership on? I think you can find those answers with keyword research, Google Trends, and keeping a pulse on industry news. One good way is to use Google Trends and then go down to where you have those related queries and then filter it by rising. That is going to show you what is trending right now with the keyword that you're trying to build thought leadership on. For example, you can see that AI SEO has been rising for some time. AI writing, SEO writing, AI, all of this stuff has been rising. So what do we do? You can take that keyword and you can plug it into a tool like Moz. I can't figure out how to play with this, but there was a video here that would have shown you what you can do when you plug this keyword in there and how you can just use it to find what the search volume is, who are your competitors, and all that stuff. And yes, Moz has gotten an upgrade. It doesn't look like a tool from 1995 anymore. It now looks like a tool from 2024. So please try it out. All right. Content ideas for guest posting. Very similar to your blog, but again, you want to do the stuff that is going to make people think of you as a thought leader. I highlighted all of this because all of this stuff is important, but I think the one that I will never turn down are case studies from your clients and how to apply your original framework to solve a specific problem. If you can attach a dollar figure or money to that result, even makes it better. Example, this is one that was written by Joe Barron on how Cognism generated 441K revenue with money keywords. Now, here's another one from Hunter, how they reclaimed 10K worth of backlinks, yes, in 30 days. And he even added a free Google app script. If you pitch something like this to any publication, I don't care how big they are, nobody's going to say no to you. So rather than pitching generic stuff that everybody else has done, pitch something that is unique to just you and the work that you're actually doing. Now, look at this one from Griffin Rohr. he's doing a non-technical guide to diagnosing JavaScript SEO issues. This thing was so easy that even me, that I'm not even technically inclined, I understood what Griffin was sharing. And same thing with this one on building a keyword tool with Python and ChatGPT. Where possible, it's very, very important to tie your guest post to keyword volume to increase visibility and longevity. Back to that post on this one. The keyword here is money keywords. If you plug that into search engine, you can see that because they're able to tie it to a keyword, Moz is ranking for that keyword. It would be the same thing as an incentive to, let's say you're pitching to a publication like Search Engine Journal, Search Engine Land or something. If you tie your pitch to a keyword that they're not ranking for, and then you put a dollar amount in front of it, nobody is saying no to you. Now, I cannot tell you how I write the content, but I can show you how I edit the contents. Again, really bad that I can't get this to play. This was going to be a workflow. So if you get the video after, you can play this and you can see the workflow of how I edit and the instructions and all of the editorial guidelines that I use to make the content really good. All right, webinars. Talk about AI. I say I'm joking, but am I really joking? Because look at the best performing webinars on Moz. 1,000 people signed up to attend an ADA's webinar. 600 people signed up to attend Jacob's webinar. That tells you that there is an insatiable demand for content around AI. So if you pitch anything, I don't want to say just pitch anything randomly, but pitch something that people are going to find really helpful, you're probably going to get a leg in. Now, when you're pitching something for webinar series, I think the best for me has to be case study breakdown. How did you do something and what were the specific steps you did to make it work? Again, here's an example. I did a webinar with another brand, and then I said the topic of presentation is this. I need help creating an outline. What do you need from me to create the outline? Once it gives me all of what it needs, I feed it back that information, and then it uses that to give me an outline. And I ask it, now flesh it out and tell me what I should be talking about in each of these points. When it does that, it's just giving me like really small ideas. It is now up to me to use my authority as a thought leader who has expertise in this content to then do that presentation and make it awesome. I think the mistake most people make is that you're trying to replace ChatGPT with your expertise instead of using ChatGPT to fuel your expertise. Now, podcasts. Again, another mistake I see people keep doing is that they're trying to make it too technical. You're trying to cover stuff that you should be doing in a webinar, in a podcast, and then I'm scratching my brain while I'm trying to clean my house, and I'm trying to pull up Google. Ain't nobody got time for that. A podcast should be really, really simple, something easy that I can listen to, and I'm like, okay, easy stuff. You know, what I've learned, best stuff that work, case studies, just really, really easy stuff that people are going to listen to, and then after, they will be Googling your name. That is what you want to be doing with a podcast. Now, this one from Joshua George that we just published on YouTube has 1K views and people are really loving it. And I think it's because everybody can relate to that grass to grace story that Joshua is sharing with how he went from doing eBay to now making over 1 million. And he recently posted by the end of this year, they are going to be doing 2 million in revenue. So that's amazing. Now, podcast has also worked for me. This podcast I did with Agency Ahead, shout out to Gareth Sussman for that, brought in over 30K in revenue for me. And that was because I was discussing something that nobody else was talking about, and which was post-purchase content as part of topic clusters. Now, here's what I generally do when I jump in a podcast. I take that topic, I give ChatGPT some ideas of what I want to cover, and then I say, help me flesh it out in bullet points. Then I say, rather than just giving me this stuff, tell me what is the problem, tell me what that problem leads to, and then tell me what the solution is. And then it does that, and I also ask it to tie it to business objectives and revenue where possible, because I want to be sharing stuff that people are going to use to make money. Now, public speaking. I think where you can, practical case studies, analyzing original reports, research reports, how to do something, and then share an original framework like what the other speakers and I have been doing. I think public speaking can be really, really powerful because it allows you to show your expertise. It allows people to learn from your expertise, and it allows you to stay top of people's mind from when they have a problem. This one, yes, this was the one I did last year. This brought in so many opportunities for me, so many, and it was at Women in Tech SEO. And here's another example from Lucati. He told me personally when he recorded a podcast with me that this presentation he did at MosCon brought in so much business and led to him even specializing in e-commerce because of how much success he was getting from this presentation. Now, I actually used ChatGPT to create this presentation you're watching right now, and I've used ChatGPT to also create a ton of other presentations. And what I always do is that I tell ChatGPT what I want to cover in that presentation. I give it like a series of bullet points, and then I say, this is what I'm trying to cover, but it doesn't feel organized. First of all, help me organize my thoughts. And then after it organizes my thoughts, I tell ChatGPT, okay, this stuff doesn't make sense. Pull it out of there. This stuff makes sense. Add it in there. And then when ChatGPT organizes my thoughts, I then use that to fuel my creativity and create the slides. Something to think of is that search is changing. I want everyone here to think of how you can use AI to build thought leadership outside of search. That is the big takeaway. Now, the last bit. Asia Orangio, if you don't follow her on follow her on LinkedIn. She's really, really awesome with demand generation. Give as much as you receive. Comment on the post of people you want to work with. Reference their work in your content. Share their work publicly. Get active in communities. Network in person and online. This shit takes time, but if you get it right, the payoff is massive. But most importantly, build in public and grow in public. I cannot overemphasize how important this thing is. What are you working on right now? What are the difficulties you are facing? How are you overcoming those difficulties? What are the challenges? Share that shit publicly so that people can see. When you carry them along with you on your journey, it makes people feel like they're part of your life. It is actually how you build expertise. Now, there are no how do you pronounce this word? Accolades. Yes, there are no accolades under the bed. So you want to make sure that you're shouting your praises from the rooftop where people can see you. And then finally, use distribution to repeat and reinforce the same message without boring your audience. And be consistent even when it doesn't seem like it's working. A lot of the content that Joshua is sharing on Twitter doesn't even get a lot of engagement. But I personally know that if I was looking for an agency to work with, he would be my first point of contact because I'm seeing the results that he's sharing. And then finally, MosCon is happening in June. So get your ticket and I'll see you all there. Thank you.
Monthly reporting making you want to shove sharp things up your nose? Try Dragon Metrics, the all-in-one SEO software with mind-blowing reporting tools.
Demand Sphere. Limitless visual insights from the SERPs. Unlimited dashboards and users. Easy to use and easy to scale your growth to new levels.